listeners to WCKR.
Welcome to the news. I'm Archer Phillips. Our first story will be concerning bugs of Minnesota. We will go to George Turner for the latest.
I'm George Turner, and I'm here to interview Karen Copeland about the mosquito and tick population of Minnesota. Karen, how do you feel about the mosquito and tick population?
I think that the tick and population this year is a lot better than last fall. I have seen ticks, but the number is not as great, and there are only a few mosquitoes. I'm not even using repellent.
Thank you. And now I'll interview Wendy White to see what her feelings are about the bugs. Well, Wendy, what do you think of the bug population this year?
The bug population this year, at this point in time, is not too bad, although I haven't experienced the evening yet when the mosquitoes probably will come out. If you look real closely, though, I can see some of their nests high up in the trees, and they come out, they're as big as bats in Minnesota, and they come, and they swarm around you, and they just try, but we have wonderful bug spray here, as well as we keep that fire going, and that helps, kind of repel them and keep them away, so the bugs aren't too bad.
Thank you very much.
And thus my report of Minnesota's bugs. Now back to you, Archer. The outlook for the property is good. We are hoping to finish the birch bark house this time, and also be able to clear the terrace and clear more brush. And now we'll turn to talk radio.
Hello, and welcome to WCKR Talk Radio. I'm your host, Madeline Johnson, and our topics for today are traveling to Minnesota and how it was at Bayside. So, how was the travel up?
Well, for me, I'm pretty used to flying, so driving up was a lot longer. It was about, I think, 14 hours when we had to stay overnight around Iowa.
Well, it sounds like it was a long trip. How did you pass the time?
Well, I read a lot, and I also played a few games, and I also slept.
All right, well, do you have anything to add to this, Curtis? Well, for me, it was 8 hours up here, so it was a pretty long drive. We passed the time by just watching a couple movies, and I read a little bit. We also slept a tiny bit. Not much, and most of the time we listen to audiobooks.
And what about you, Madeline?
Oh, well, here, do you want to hold it? Well, my trip up wasn't too long. It was definitely not as long as yours. It was only about 8 hours, which is about how Curtis's was.
Yeah, since you're in Wisconsin.
Yes. In fact, Curtis and I were driving, we had about the same distance.
Of course, since you're in the same van together.
That makes sense. All right, well, now that we know a lot about how the trip up was, let's talk about how the first night was. I know your first night, James, was not at the property yet, but you want to tell us about both your first nights at the property and wherever it was you stayed before?
Yeah, sure. I stayed in a little motel in Iowa, and it was pretty nice. But our first night up here was pretty nice because, first we came here, we had to de-winterize the trailer. But yeah, it was pretty cozy, and we didn't feel the cold any. But it rained a little, and we saw a little lightning and heard some thunder. But it was pretty nice.
Well, that's very nice, James. I'm very glad that you had no problems. Our first night it was very nice as well. We were staying at Bayside on Leash Lake, and we arrived at about 7:45. We unpacked the car, which did not actually surprisingly take very long, as it usually does. I think we were motivated because we were planning to come to the property. As soon as we finished getting the stuff unloaded, we got all our shoes and things on. We were climbing in the car, and then our grandparents pulled up, and they had just come from the property, saying that, well, James's family was ready to retire. So we decided to wait till tomorrow. We went to the playground at Bayside, and we played there for a while until it was bedtime.
Okay, right.
Wait, I guess. Well, my brother and I slept on a pull-out couch bed. It was actually quite cozy comparing to normal ones. Earlier today, I think maybe a spring broke, but we're not sure yet.
Thank you.
Well, that, I guess, brings us to the close of WCKR Talk Radio.
Come to the weather from the Farmer's Almanac. The 24th through the 27th calls for mostly fair skies. The 28th through the 31st calls for light showers over the eastern Rockies. Thank you. This has been the weather on WCKR. Coming up next is Linus and Lucy.
Well, Curtis, what did the jack say to the car?
Need a lift?
Oh, you got it. You're too good for me. What's the difference between a dog with fleas and a person going on vacation?
They're both black?
Nope. One is going to itch and the other is itching to go. All right, that was a big burst out. What part of the car is the laziest part?
The wheel.
Why?
Because it's always tired.
Ah, you got it again. When is a car not a car?
I don't know, sir.
When it turns into a garage. Well, I guess that was a good one. But why are barbers good drivers?
Because they know all the shortcuts.
Oh, you are too good. What's the longest word in the dictionary?
Some word I don't know?
Smiles, because there's a mile between the first and last letter. I want to say, well, this
was a funny time. Well, I guess it's all over.
Well, that was a lot of fun, but it's too bad we have to go now. Bye, folks.
And now it's story time! The Giant Jam Sandwich. Stories and pictures by John Vernon Lord. For Alexander and Jonathan. One hot summer day in Itchingdown, 4 million wasps flew into town. They drove the picnickers away. They chased the farmers from their hay. They stung Lord Swell on his fat bald pate. They dived and hummed and buzzed and ate. And the nasty noise a nuisance grew, till all the villagers cried, "What can we do?" So they called a meeting in the village hall, and Mayor Muddlenut asked them all, "What can we do?" And they said, "Good question," but nobody had a good suggestion. Then Bat the baker leaped to his feet and cried, "What do wasps like to eat?" "Strawberry jam." "Now wait a minute. If we made a giant jam sandwich, we could trap them in it." The gentleman cheered and a lady squealed, and Farmer C said, "Use my field." Bat gave instructions for making the dough. Mix the flour from above and the yeast from below. Salt from the seaside and water from the spout. Now thump it, bang it about. While they were working and working hard, some more made a tablecloth out in the yard. When they were done, the dough was left to rise, till the loaf was a mountain in shape and size. They hitched it up with a bit of a fuss, 2 tractors, cars, and the village bus, and took it to the oven they had made in the hill, 50 cookers in an old brick mill. For hours and hours they let it cook. It swelled inside till the windows shook. It was piping hot when they took it out, and the villagers raised a mighty shout. "Isn't it crusty? Aren't we clever?" But the wasps were just as bad as ever. The loaf was left to cool, and then the people watched while 6 strong men took a great big saw and sliced right through. Everybody clapped, and they cut slice too. The village bus, they all agreed, would spoil the fields of farmer seed. So 8 fine horses pulled the bread to where the picnic cloth was spread. A truck drew up and dumped out butter, and they spread it out with a flap and a flutter. Spoons and spades, slap and slam, and they did the same with the strawberry jam. Meanwhile, high above the field, 6 flying machines whirled and wheeled, ready for the wasps to take the bait. And then there was nothing to do but wait. Suddenly the sky was humming. All 4 million wasps were coming. They smelled that jam and they dived and struck. And they ate so much that they all got stuck. The other piece came down flat on top of the wasp, and that was that. There were only 3 that got away, and where they are now, I cannot say. But they never came back to Itchingdown, which is not a waspish sort of town, but a very nice place to dance and play, and that's what the villagers did that day. What became of the sandwich? Well, in Itchingdown, they liked to tell how the birds flew off with it in their beaks and had a feast for 100